Sea creatures have long fascinated humanity. After all, no one truly knows what hides in the ocean's depths. That's why we've gathered 12 of the most mysterious beings ever whispered about, from ancient myths and sailor logs to viral sightings and modern deep-sea encounters. Some of them you've heard of, others were nearly forgotten, but all of them raise the same chilling question: what if they're still out there? So stay close and don't look away, because what you're about to see might change the way you look at the sea forever. Some say she had long flowing hair, eyes like pearls, and a glowing tail that disappeared beneath the waves. They say she was beautiful, gentle, kind, but that's just the story they told kids. The creature is the mermaid. Before Disney made her a princess, she was a nightmare. In the oldest myths, mermaids were monsters. In Greek legends, they were sirens, luring ships into rocks with their voices. In African tales, she was Mamiwata, powerful, seductive, and dangerous. In Japan, the Ningyo, said to curse anyone who ate her flesh with eternal life. Some say she smiled as sailors drowned. Others say she had no face at all, just a mouth. And even in modern films, the truth slips through, like The Lighthouse or The Siren, 2016. Even horror games give her back her teeth, because beneath the songs, behind the smile, the ocean's most famous beauty was always something to fear. But the mermaid wasn't the only legend hiding beneath the waves. Some creatures weren't quiet. They didn't sing, they pulled. The Kraken. A monster so big old sailors thought it was an island. Tentacles like towers, eyes the size of sails. And when the sea started to foam, they knew it was already too late. In Norse mythology, it was feared by Vikings. In the 1700s, sailors swore it swallowed ships whole. And maps from that era, they literally marked the sea. Here be monsters. Today the Kraken lives on, in Pirates of the Caribbean, God of War, even music videos and game trailers. Because no matter how far tech goes, we're still scared of what we can't see. And if you want to go deeper, we made a full video just on the Kraken. Click the I button to dive deep into our dedicated Kraken video. But for now, stay with us. The ocean has always hidden giants, but some were too big to stay forgotten. There's a reason even whales have scars, a reason some sonar readings show shapes bigger than submarines, and a reason divers say, if it's out there, you'll never see it coming. The creature is the Megalodon. Up to 60 feet long, a bite strong enough to crush a car, and teeth the size of a man's hand. Scientists say it went extinct millions of years ago, but not everyone agrees. Fossils have been found near Peru, Japan, even the US coastline. Some are so well preserved, they look recent, and in pop culture, it's unstoppable. Megalodon 2018, the Meg 2 Discovery's Shark Week mockumentaries. Even games like Subnautica tease its shadow because it taps into a fear that's older than speech. What if the biggest predator in history never really left? We've seen predators, hunters, shadows in the dark, but some sea creatures weren't meant to hunt. They were made to end things. This one doesn't swim. He waits, coiled, around the entire world. The creature is Jörmungandr. In Norse mythology, he's the world serpent, son of Loki, enemy of Thor. They say his body wraps the planet like a ring, and when he lets go of his own tail, the end begins, Ragnarok. He's not just a monster, he's a prophecy. And yet, stories like his didn't appear from nowhere. In the 1800s, sailors off the coast of Iceland reported sea serpents longer than ships. In 2021, Norwegian fishermen captured sonar blips of something massive, too fast, too big, gone. And in games like God of War and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Jörmungandr rises again, ancient, giant, silent. Is he real? No fossils, no proof, just stories passed down like storm warnings. But sometimes the world ends with a whisper, and sometimes with a serpent. Not all sea monsters have faces. Some just make a sound, and somehow that's worse. In 1997, researchers recorded something in the South Pacific, a sound so loud it was picked up by sensors over 3,000 miles apart. They called it the Bloop. It wasn't a whale, not a quake, not a ship, and definitely not human. Then came the theories. Some said it was ice, a glacier breaking, but others heard something more. alive, something massive. And here's where it gets weird. The Bloop's coordinates? They're near the place where writer H.P. Lovecraft imagined R'lyeh, the underwater city of a godlike being named Cthulhu. Now, if you already know who Cthulhu is, you're ahead of the curve. And if not, we've got you covered. Once this video ends, click the I button to dive deep into our dedicated Cthulhu episode. But for now stay with us, because what comes next in this video only gets darker. In horror games like Subnautica, on forums, in stories, the Bloop has become something more than a sound. It's what the ocean says and when something wakes up. Storms are loud, waves crash, thunder rolls, but what if it's the silence that should scare you? Fishermen in Japan have long told the same story. After the storm ends, when the sea suddenly turns still and fog rolls in without a sound, something rises, a towering, faceless shadow with smooth black skin. Some say it has arms. Others say it's just a head, no eyes, no mouth, but it watches. The creature is Umibōzu. They say he sinks ships with a single motion. And if you speak, he demands a bucket. If you hand him a regular one, he floods the ship. The only way to survive? A bottomless bucket, a trick, a riddle. He's less like a monster and more like the sea itself. Calm one moment, deadly the next. In modern Japanese horror games and anime, Umibōzu returns again and again, always in the fog, always when the water is too still. Is he real? Science says no, but to coastal sailors, this name still means something. Don't trust silence, don't speak to shadows, and never, ever hand him a full bucket. Every country has a creature they whisper about. Canada has Ogopogo, not in the sea, but in Lake Okanagan, calm, cold, and deep. Locals say it's been there long before the towns, long before the roads, just watching. They call it a lake monster. It's said to be serpentine, nearly 50 feet long, with dark, smooth skin and a head like a horse or maybe a goat. Stories go back centuries. First Nations people warned, never cross the lake without an offering, because the spirit in the water could pull your canoe down and never give it back. 1926. A dozen people claim they saw it. Since then, blurry photos, shaky footage, and quiet fear. Some say it's just a big fish, or floating logs, or waves playing tricks. But here's the strange part. Why are the stories always the same? The same shape, the same eyes, the same feeling that something's under the boat. Even today, Ogopogo appears in tourist photos. There's even a statue of him in Kelowna, cartoonish, smiling, like they turned a myth into a mascot. But if you ask the old fishermen, they won't laugh. They'll tell you, sometimes the lake still moves when it shouldn't. No roar, no splash, no warning. Sometimes a boat just disappears. No storm, no wreckage, just gone. Locals call it the Sea Eater. It's not from a famous legend, no ancient texts, no monster manual, just whispers passed around docks in Scandinavia, Alaska, and northern Canada. A dark shape, no eyes, a mouth that stretches across half its head. Its skin is smooth like a seal, but its size like a bus or bigger. It doesn't attack with rage, it doesn't chase, it doesn't even make a sound. It just appears beneath the boat, and the boat is gone. Some think it's a metaphor, others think it's a cover-up, but there are reports, small, strange, of fishermen vanishing in calm waters. They weren't reckless, they weren't caught in a storm, they just never came back. There's no proof, no photos, just a pattern and an unspoken rule. If the sea goes quiet too fast, move. Because if the Sea Eater is real, it doesn't leave second chances. There are places in the ocean where even light refuses to enter. The blue holes of the Caribbean, bottomless pits, ancient underwater cave systems. And according to legend, they're not empty. They belong to something, a beast they call the Lusca. Some say it's half shark, half octopus. Others say it's like a squid, but with jaws like a crocodile. Huge, fast, and always hidden beneath. Local fishermen in the Bahamas, Cuba, and Jamaica believe the Lusca drags its prey downward into tunnels no diver dares explore, disappearing without bubbles, without a sound, without even blood. And speaking of deep dives, hey, if you're still watching this and loving the chills, hit that subscribe button, drop a like so we know you want more sea legends, and tell us in the comments, which creature creeped you out the most so far? Now, let's keep going. Scientists say the violent whirlpools around blue holes are natural, but the locals don't think it's the current. They think it's the breath of something waiting. Lusca rarely shows itself, just a flash of tentacle, a sudden pull, and a diver's flashlight slowly falling through the dark. It's not the most famous sea monster, but in the Caribbean, it's the one they fear the most. You've probably seen this creature on your feed, in reels, shorts, TikToks, that massive snake that looks too big to be real. Yeah, that's not clickbait, that's Titanoboa. It lived 60 million years ago, in swamps, rivers, and flooded forests of what's now Colombia. But it wasn't just long, it was monstrous. 50 feet long, weighed over a ton, could crush a crocodile in one coil. Its body was as wide as an oil drum. Scientists say it hunted silently, slipping through water like a shadow. It didn't need venom, it had pure power. Titanoboa exploded into mainstream horror when it appeared in documentaries like Titanoboa, Monster Snake, Discovery Channel, and inspired creatures in games like Ark, Survival Evolved, and movies like Anaconda, Blood Orchid. YouTube cryptid channels, horror TikToks, and even fan-made horror edits can't stop showing it because it looks like something out of Jurassic Park, but it's real. It's fossils, found, studied. Some of its vertebrae are as big as your head. You can even see a full-scale reconstruction in the Smithsonian. But here's the catch. Titanoboa thrived in hot, humid, flooded regions, swamps, coastal waters, and thanks to climate change, those conditions are returning. So maybe Titanoboa didn't go extinct. Maybe it just moved deeper. In the waters of Hokkaido, just beyond where the boats drift, a god is said to sleep, a god with arms that can crush ships. Its name is Akkorokamui. A massive red octopus, larger than a whale, with eyes that glow like lanterns and skin said to shine like polished coral. Born from Ainu mythology, the legend tells of a giant spider that ravaged a village until the gods transformed it into a sea creature as punishment. But that didn't tame it. It only grew angrier and hungrier. Locals say when the tide turns red, Akkorokamui is near. Shrines were built in its honor, offerings made, because angering it meant vanishing, with no trace, no splash, just still red water. In modern culture, Akkorokamui inspired kaiju-style monsters in games like Monster Hunter and can be seen referenced in anime like Gegege no Kitaro. Even in Pokemon, the creature Octillery is rumored to be loosely inspired by this myth. And in Godzilla's spiritual genre, giant cephalopods often echo Akkorokamui's silhouette and power. To the Ainu, it wasn't just a monster. It was divine. Deadly, yes, but respected, worshipped. Because when something that large lives in the sea, you don't fight it, you pray it doesn't notice you. They say it sleeps beneath the world, an ancient god of the sea, older than time, bigger than continents. The final sea creature on our list is Leviathan. This isn't just folklore. Across religious texts and ancient mythologies, Hebrew, Christian, Islamic, Leviathan appears as a monstrous serpent of chaos. Some called it a demon, others a force of balance. But all agreed, when Leviathan stirs, the world changes. And lately, the signs have started again. This year, in the frozen waters of Antarctica, an unusual resurgence of fin whales has been documented. Massive pods, dozens strong, returning to places they hadn't been seen in decades. Scientists called it hopeful, but some wondered, what called them back? In the tropical waters of Kerala, India, the ocean told a different story. Local beaches were littered with the sudden appearance of dead fish, sardines, mackerel, and other species, washed up by the hundreds. Climate scientists linked it to warming waters and disrupted oxygen levels, but for many locals, it felt like a warning from the sea. And off the coast of Mexico, oarfish, known online as the doomfish, surfaced. These deep-sea creatures have long been seen as omens in Japanese and Pacific folklore, believed to rise before natural disasters. If you've followed this journey, you already know the ocean's secrets run deep. If you want to dive fully into the Leviathan legend, click the I button after this video finishes and explore our full breakdown. Leviathan returns again and again in Final Fantasy, God of War, Supernatural, and even in Netflix's Chocolate Deep miniseries, The Deep. Now, as whales flock, oarfish surface, and fish wash ashore, the line between myth and reality feels thinner than ever. So, we're done here. And yeah, these creatures, they defy logic, but so does the ocean. We've seen legends, whispers, shadows from the deep, and maybe, just maybe, the sea is still hiding something. Now I want to ask you, do you believe any of these could be real? Even just one? Let me know in the comments. I read everyone. Your curiosity, your theories, your questions, that's what inspires me to keep diving deeper. And hey, if there's a creature you want featured in the next episode, drop it in the comments. If it fits, I'll bring it to life. Now maybe you're thinking, these creatures aren't real, they're just myths. And maybe they are, but even myths come from somewhere, from fear, from awe, from the places in the world we still haven't explored. No photos, no proof, but still remembered. Because folklore isn't about evidence, it's about imagination. And if these stories survive centuries, maybe it's because they're trying to tell us something. We're not alone, not now, not ever.